Hello and welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Thelma Okoro. The Nigerian government has officially launched the Change Begins With Me campaign at the Presidential Villa Banquet Hall in Abuja. Speaking at the event, President Muhammad Buhari urged Nigerians to be part of the National Reorientation Campaign. The campaign planned by the Federal Ministry of Information is an offshoot of the Change mantra of the ruling All Progressives Congress.
It is safe to say today that honesty, hard work, godliness have given way to all kinds of manifestations of lawlessness and degeneration in our national life. This is why we have among our cardinal objectives change, which implies the need for a change of attitude and mindset in our everyday life. Every one of us must have a change from our old days of doing things. We cannot fold our arms and allow things to continue the old way. We must resist the temptation to fall back on the same partisanship, pettiness, and immaturity that have poisoned our country for so long. Let us summon a new spirit of responsibility, spirit of service, of patriotism, and sacrifice. Let us all resolve to pitch in and work hard and look after not only ourselves, but one another. What the current problem has taught us is that we cannot have a thriving army of rent seekers and vested interests while the majority suffers. Rather than sit back and complain endlessly, we have decided to act pragmatically with the launch of the National Reorientation Campaign. The campaign will not be a sprint, but a marathon that will run the course of our tenure. We are under no illusion that the changes we seek will happen overnight. But we have no doubt that the campaign will help restore our value system and rekindle our nationalistic fervor. I am therefore appealing to all Nigerians to be part of this campaign. Our students must realize that the change they want to see begins with them. If you have not seen the change in you, you cannot see it in others or even the larger society. In other words, before you ask, where is the change they promise us? You must first ask, how far have I changed my ways? What have I done to be part of the change for the greater good of society? While the government will drive the Change Begins With Me campaign, it must be strongly supported by all concerned individually. In this regard, the private sector is a major stakeholder.
Now, following the launch of the campaign, TV360 spoke to some Nigerians to get their reactions. While most of them were divided over the campaign, with some of them saying change must begin with the government before it gets to the citizens.
It's a very good scheme that I think is a long overdue scheme, a program that should have been introduced long ago. You know, you want to rule over a people. You see, a leadership is as good as the followership. A leadership is as good as the followership. Just like a goalkeeper in a football game is as good as the defense. If you have a very porous defense, a goalkeeper is likely to concede many goals. in a football match. So it's the defender that shields the goalkeeper from unnecessary shots from strikers. That's the same thing leadership is about. A leader has to have the people he's governing following in his programs, understanding what he's trying to do.
We are talking of changes that in policy that will have impact on the common man. If there is no change in those areas, there is no way a common man can even change. That is what I believe. So they must have change in policies, in terms of implementation of policy, in terms of execution of policies, and in terms of evaluation of policies. If those things can be done, then an average Nigerian can have a change. They can change themselves, even if not for if the government is not campaigning for the change itself, the people naturally they will change.
If change must happen in this country, the government, those who lead, will have to lead first before the citizens will follow. Saying that change begins with me, how does that really work? For example, I have a program which I feel will improve education in Nigeria. How can I enforce it? Am I the Minister of Education? Am I I'm a permanent secretary? There are policy makers.
The greatest setback Nigeria has today in this modern world is the mindset of Nigerians, myself inclusive. And until we are able to go through a reorientation process, that mindset of it has to work my way, it has to be the way it has been done, the traditional ways of doing things. Like, for instance, I get a government office and somebody expects me that I need to bribe them before I can get whatever I need to get done. And equally on my part, I'm like, well, it's their office, so let me just do it so that for them to go. So this change begins with, we should start with Nigerians. In all fairness, it should begin with Nigerians so that we can change our mindsets and begin to look at it that as a stakeholder, something is definitely wrong. Each time I hold on to that mindset, the traditional way of doing things.
Government have to show example, because every Nigerian on the street does not even know what change is all about. But when a leader or a government show the example, the ordinary man begin to ask questions. Is this a change? Oh, it's good change. Let me follow. If everybody buy into it, understand what change is all about, definitely the government, people and the country will move forward. Because change, when we say change, there is two types of change. Change for good, change for bad. When we talk of change, are we practicing change for good or change for bad? When you are practicing change for good, definitely the country will head for good. But when you are practicing change for bad, things will get worse.
The Nigerian Police Force and Department of State Services have advised the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to postpone the Edo State governorship election. The election was slated to hold on Saturday, September 10, 2016. However, the two security agencies say the advice is based on credible intelligence that insurgents are planning to attack some states during the forthcoming Salah celebrations between September 12th and September 13th. The agencies say Edo State is among the states being earmarked for these planned attacks.
While election is important, the security agencies cannot allow the peace of the country to be disrupted, and we will continue to remain vigilant and ensure consolidation of the successive gain in the current counter-insurgency fight. It is in regard of this that we are appealing to INEC, which has the legal duty, I want to emphasize that, to regulate elections in the country, to consider the need for possible postponement of the date of the election in Edo State in order to enable security agencies to deal decisively with the envisaged terrorist threats. While the police, the DSS, remain mindful of the inconveniences this request may cause the various political stakeholders. It is our strong resolve that security agencies need not to be distracted from ensuring a peaceful and secure Nigeria now and always.
Dozens of reactions have trolled the calls to postpone the Edo governorship election. Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, has described as shocking and bizarre calls to postpone the Edo State governorship election. The PDP says the advice of the security agencies is an attempt to scuttle the country's democracy, while the Transition Monitoring Group says the advice was unacceptable. Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose has also condemned the call. He said the call showed the APC was afraid to lose the polls. The Nigerian Police Force and the Department of State Services had advised INEC to postpone the polls because insurgents are planning to attack some states during the forthcoming Salah celebrations between September 12th and September 13th. The agencies say Edo State is among the states being earmarked for these planned attacks. The Nigerian Air Force has conducted a special counter-terrorism exercise at the international airport in Abuja. The mock security drill, which left some passengers shaking, was carried out to show how prepared the military is to defend the country against terrorist attacks in the various airports. The Air Force says the exercise would be continuous and lapses in the operations would be rectified. The Nigerian Council of State and the Police Council have confirmed the appointment of Ibrahim Idris as the Inspector General of Police. Idris was appointed as Acting Inspector General of Police on June 21, 2016 to succeed Solomon Arase, who retired from service. Governor of Jigawa State Abubakar Badaru, who briefed State House correspondents on the outcome of the meeting, said that the confirmation of Idris as the police chief was unanimous. The Nigerian Police Force has expressed concern over the activities of campaign group Bring Back Our Girls. The group has been embarking on regular protests at the presidential villa in Abuja, calling for the immediate release of the abducted Chibok girls. He urged the group to tread with caution by channeling the grievances within the ambit of the law. The group, who have been stopped by the police several times last month, say they will continue to march to the presidential villa every 72 hours until their demands are met by the president. One of such demands is the rescue of the Chibok girls. In April 2014, Boko Haram abducted 276 girls from a school in Chibok, Borno State, northeast Nigeria. Until date, the girls are yet to be found. The Nigerian government has approved plans to borrow from abroad as the country seeks to move its economy away from recession. Official data from the country's Bureau of Statistics show that its gross domestic product contracted by 2.06% in the second quarter, sending it into a recession after a decline in the first quarter. The presidency says low-cost long-term loans will be sought from the World Bank, African Development Bank, China's Exim Bank, and the Japan International Cooperation Bank. It is, however, subjected to approval from the country's lawmakers. The National Assembly is currently on a break and are scheduled to resume on September 20th. Nigeria was Africa's largest economy and its top oil producer, but its public finances have suffered as the price of crude oil dropped around the world. Nigerian Army says its troops have arrested a suspected leader of the Niger Delta Avengers militant group and other men accused of attacking oil and gas facilities. The Army, in a statement, said that one of the suspects is alleged to be responsible for the recent attack on an MPDC pipeline last month. They have been handed over to Operation Delta Safe for further interrogation and subsequent handing over to relevant agencies for prosecution. The Delta Safe is a military scheme initiated to stop pipeline attacks in the Niger Delta region. Attacks by militants in the Niger Delta has pushed Nigeria's crude oil production to 30-year lows. An Abuja High Court has granted bail to former Niger Delta Affairs Minister Godsday Orubebe alongside Oludari Alaba and Ephraim Zeri, who are directors of contract in the ministry. The court, which was presided over by Olukayode Adeniyi, granted Orubebe bail in the sum of 10 million naira, while the other two were granted bail in the sum of 20 million naira each. The three men were arraigned on a 6-count charge, which includes diversion of public funds by the Independent Corrupt Practices and other related offences commission on the 5th of August. Adini ordered Orubebe to produce one shorty in Laxam, who must be a responsible Nigerian with evidence of 3 years tax payment and land property owner within Abuja. Health officials in Ondo State, southwest Nigeria, have confirmed the outbreak of a Lassa fever virus. This comes shortly after five other states also confirmed the outbreak of the disease. The Lassa fever disease is an outbreak which is caused by rats. It has also been confirmed in 5 other states. The Nigerian government has declared Monday, September 12th and Tuesday, September 13th as public holidays to mark the Eid al-Kabir celebration. Minister of Interior, retired Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazo, made the declaration on behalf of the federal government in a statement signed by the acting permanent secretary in the ministry, Muhammadu Masidu. Eid al-Kabir is a yearly Islamic festival celebrated by Muslims around the world. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back, we'll look at business and sports stories. Don't go away.
Corruption not in my country. Mr. John! Mr. John! What is it now?
What is it now?
Please turn down the volume of your music. It's too loud.
And how is that your business?
It is disturbing me. I can't sleep.
And the same way you are disturbing my right to good music and where I enjoy it. What's wrong with you? Is there another person complaining?
Maybe we thought that you have lost your mind. Are you having a party?
I'm just expecting you, sir. You remember I paid my husband too.
You will not understand why we are complaining because you do not care about other people except yourself. Look, the transformation we need in this country begins in this compound.
Yes, now.
From you and I. This your selfishness is an offshoot of corruption. And corruption not in my country.
You know, go to your bank. Go.
Corruption not in my country.
Welcome back. In a bid to promote the Nigerian oil and gas sector, the Nigerian government has suggested collaboration among stakeholders in the country. According to the government, the collaboration will act as a sustainable method for developments in the global oil and gas market. Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachiko, while speaking at the PTDF Oil Exploration Summit in Abuja, said the challenge facing the global oil market surely calls for such a partnership. He was represented at the event by the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry, Jemaila Shuara.
The challenges facing the global market surely calls for partnerships, synergies, and innovation by all of us. But as we move into a phase of global challenges in the oil sector, we will all have to do more to reinvent our strategies for the collective good of our nation. This is why this summit is therefore a strategic approach to collaborate with industry players in the oil and gas on the need for a more sustainable way to funding and other activities as contemporary developments in the global oil market have substantially affected exploration and investments, and Nigeria is not an exception. The recent developments in the global economy, especially in the hydrocarbon industry, gives developing nations like Nigeria a lot of lessons as it challenges nations to new technologies and initiatives that will enhance the outcome of relevant research and development activities.
There is the need for effective and efficient collaboration between the PTDF and your companies in both human and institutional capacity building for the oil and gas industry. Invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, countless countries in the world became great by giving, not by taking. Your generosity to PTDF is a generosity to many Nigerians who were only able to achieve their dreams through laudable human and institutional capacity building programs and projects. We assure you that the PTDF is fully committed to its mandate and welcome new initiatives and ideas and solutions to achieving its mandate in an effective and efficient manner.
Oil prices rose more than 1.5% on Thursday after U.S. industry data showed a large drawdown in crude stocks. Brent crude oil was up 80 cents a barrel at $48.78 per barrel, while U.S. crude was up 90 cents at $46.40 per barrel. Oil was also sustained by robust trade data from China, which showed its crude imports in August. Members of the OPEC will meet on the sidelines of the International Energy Forum, which groups producers and consumers in Algeria on September 26 to 28. Non-OPEC members such as Russia, which is the world's top oil producer, is also expected to attend the summit. A car bomb exploded near the foreign ministry in the center of the Libyan capital of Tripoli early on Thursday. No casualties were reported, but images posted online showed the charred wreckage of a vehicle and scattered debris in the middle of the street. No group has yet claimed responsibility for the attack. Washington's special envoy for South Sudan says the United States does not believe South Sudan's former Deputy Vice President Riek Machar should return to the former position in the government. The U.S. cited the continued instability in the country despite a peace deal signed by Riek Machar and South Sudanese President Salva Kiir. Nearly 3 years ago, political rivalry between both men sparked a civil war that has often followed ethnic lines. The pair signed a shaky peace deal a year ago, but fighting continues, including attacks on South Sudanese and foreign civilians. Machar has since fled the country following fresh fighting. He was also replaced as Vice President of South Sudan. The Nigeria Football Federation (NFF) has denied that its president Amaju Pinnick applied for a seat on the FIFA Council. Reports have suggested that the Confederation of African Football (CAF) had rejected the nomination of the NFF president. However, NFF General Secretary Mohamed Sanusi in a statement stated that at no time did Pinnick, who is a member of the CAF organizing committee, apply for the for the position. Pinnick was controversially selected as NFF boss on September 2014. He has overseen 2 successive Nations Cup failures in 2015 and 2017. The 2016 Paralympic Games has officially been declared open with a colorful ceremony held in Brazil. The Games are expected to run till September 18, 2016 in Rio, Brazil. The biggest concern for the Games, however, was around a shortfall in funding with the struggling Brazilian economy and low ticket sales, meaning Rio's organizing committee had not raised enough money to fund the event. Team Nigeria's contingent is made up of 23 athletes and they will compete in just 3 sports. The events are athletics, powerlifting, and table tennis. Brazil becomes the first South American city to hold the Paralympic Games, having won the bid in 2009. American swimmer Ryan Lochte has been suspended for 10 months. This is according to U.S. media. This follows a scandal involving the U.S. Olympic athletes and 3 other swimmers at the Rio Olympic Games. The suspension was handed down by the U.S. Olympic Committee. Lochte and 3 other swimmers had falsely claimed that they were robbed at gunpoint in Rio. Following investigations, the Brazilian police discovered that the quartet had lied about the incident. Lochte eventually issued an apology, but has also lost 4 major sponsorship deals. Brazilian police have also charged him to court for the incident. Well, that's all we have on News Now. We thank you very much for watching. I am Thelma Okoro.